Hello, good evening. Welcome to Business Live. Coming up in tonight's bulletin, continuous performance of food and non-alcoholic beverages group set to be main drivers as February inflation remains 7.8%. Ministry of Finance and the multi-stakeholder group of Ghana Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative launched Ghana's 2017-2018 Mining and Oil and Gas EITI reports in Accra. And the Joy Business Van revisits Doman Foods as we learn more about how the startup has grown to become a household name for sweet snacks. My name is Darryl Kwao. Thanks for being with us as we mark 25 years of joy. Tonight, the Ghana Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative (GNPC) has launched Ghana's 2017-2018 Mining and Oil and Gas EITI reports in Accra. The mining report brings to 14 the total number published since Ghana signed onto the initiative in 2003. Presenting the latest findings, co-chairman of the Ghana chapter of the EITI, Dr. Steve Mantiel, raised concerns about contributions of the extractive industries to communities. There's more in this report.
Co-chair of Ghana's chapter of the EITI, Dr. Steve Mantiel, stated that while disclosures on the management and use of extractive resources are vital in fostering and informed citizens' engagement on natural resource governance, Ghana's long-term objective of enhancing the development outcomes of the extractive sector will not be served if citizens do not capitalize on the reports to demand accountability and the needed policy and practice.
You do. To determine that when I mortgage my forests, the livelihoods of my people, for X amount of taxes and royalties, this is what I get. We don't do anything of the sort. For us, every money is money. Whether it's we are losing out or gaining, we don't really care much. A study done by the World Bank at the turn of the millennium, I think it was 1998 thereabout, indicate that the cost, the environmental cost to human activities, including mining, is about 6% of our GDP. So, if your economy is growing by 4% and the cost to your environment is 6%, are you going or you are coming?
The report further cited that international oil companies such as Anadarko, Eco Atlantic, Vital Upstream, and AGM, though met the threshold for inclusion in the report, failed to submit their templates and therefore did not participate in the exercise. A few companies were also excluded with the reconciliation exercise because they did not meet the materiality threshold of $370,000 and $350,000 for 2017 and 2018 financial years respectively during the scoping phase of the exercise.
Variation in the price will mean that we'll have to make the necessary adjustments in the budget in order to contain the reduction. That is what is immediately. But our debt management unit are also looking at ways of dealing with some of the consequences, fiscal consequences relating to the management of government liabilities, and also some of the benefits we could get from the development in the international economy.
Other key findings show that though the Minister of Finance is required to stipulate the weightings used in the event of realignment, no such weightings were provided in the 2018 budget in respect of the funds of the Ghana infrastructure. Also, GNPC's funds are currently capped under the Petroleum Revenue Management Act at 30% of net petroleum revenues.
Well, more from the EITI report, which indicates there's a lack of clarity on the relationship between the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation and the Ghana National Gas Company. Currently, the GNPC claims responsibility for Ghana Gas as a subsidiary. However, Ghana Gas does not appear to recognize the GNPC as a parent company. Further, the GNPC's financial statements do not reflect debts owed by Ghana Gas. This development has raised questions on whether or not government must intervene with some legislation. Let's get some response from the Deputy Finance Minister, Kweku Kwarteng, who launched the report.
The relationship, I don't think there's a need for any clarity. It is about the institutions working for one state to just sit down and iron out some of the minor differences. I do not think it has been such, they've been such big differences. But issues that have come up recently are quite minor. I think the institutions are capable of addressing these. It's the desire to perform their mandate as fully as they can that leads to what appears sometimes to be overlaps and leads to the disagreement. But I'm quite confident that the leadership of these institutions are able to address these differences and ensure that both working in concert but also working as individual institutions, they can deliver on their mandates for the benefit of the country. Variation in the price will mean that we'll have to make the necessary adjustments in the budget in order to contain the reduction. That is what is immediately contemplatable. But I think we ought to broaden the discussion to cover not just crude oil, but generally as a country, what the opportunities are in this epidemic, but also what measures we need to take to ensure that Ghana is impacted minimally in this global epidemic. That we are working on. The Ministry of Health is working closely with the Ministry of Finance to ensure that we're able to contain the negative impact of the epidemic. But our debt management unit are also looking at ways of dealing with some of the consequences, fiscal consequences relating to the management of government liabilities.
Well, energy expert Ishmael Ejekumhene has been reacting to this aspect of the report by the EITI. He spoke with Emmanuel Aboagye-Wiafe.
It's not the law per se. It was a policy decision that was announced first by the then Minister of Finance in when he was reading the 2015 budget. He announced that GNGC, that's Ghana Gas, is going to be made a subsidiary of GNPC. The whole idea is to increase the asset base of GNPC and strengthen their books to be able to go into the capital market to get loans, secure loans and things like that. But post that announcement, no concrete steps were taken to ensure the transfer of asset ownership to Ghana GNPC. So it's not a claim being made by GNPC. It's a policy decision that was announced that never got implemented. So yes, they are right to believe that Ghana Gas is a subsidiary, but Ghana Gas never became a subsidiary of GNPC post the announcement that was made by the minister. There was a reason why GNPC was in existence, but Ghana chose to set up a dedicated entity to see to the processing of gas and the marketing of gas. But for us to spend money and create an institution called Ghana Gas and then turn around suddenly to say that
some analysis there from Ishmael Ejekumhene. In other news, Deputy Director of International Projects and Partnerships at Hamburg Chamber of Commerce, Michael Connell, has advised prospective foreign investors in Ghana's oil city to start looking at processing factories rather than the extractives. He tells Joy Business that investing in processing factories will speed up the development of the second Takoradi metropolis.
Michael Connell noted that most investors have directed their attention towards the extractive industry for some years now because of the natural resources, but he says he strongly believes to boost the economy of the Western region, there is the need for businesses to form partnership as well as encourage investors to establish more processing factories.
The Western region is really where all the power of Ghana comes from. So all the natural resources come from the Western region. So it's a very rich region, but on the other end, the power is somehow centralized in Accra. I see a lot of extractive industries, but not too many industry companies actually processing. But if you want to move to the upper level, to a higher development path, processing becomes key.
He made the remarks after handing over the baton to Michelle Beck, Project Director of Hamburg Chamber of Commerce, who has taken the position as Director, Sekondi Takoradi Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and Hamburg Chamber of Commerce Partnership Project.
I'm very happy to bring in my experiences I gained within the last 14 years at the chambers in Germany and China. And I think this is my most important input I can deliver to this project, is my experiences working there. I know as a chamber that doesn't have compulsory membership, how important it is to provide services to the members. So of course I can give a lot of advice on how to develop services that attracts companies to become our members, what to take care of it. I have a lot of experiences on how to develop membership services, so I'm hopefully and very looking much forward to it, to bringing my experience on that.
In Athalia Kwanza, reporting for Joy Business.
All right, let's talk about matters concerning inflation now. The rate of inflation recorded in February 2020 stays at 7.8%, which is the same figure recorded for the previous month. Now, the Ghana Statistical Service says this is a result of a continuous performance of food and non-alcoholic beverages group, which has been the main driving factor of current inflation. This means that the prices of general goods and services between the period recorded little or no change. Acting Deputy Statistician David Combat announced a rate to journalists in Accra. There's more in this report.
The food division is the largest contributor to the month-on-month inflation, while clothing and footwear formed the second largest contributor this month. Monthly change in the rate of inflation between February 2020 and January 2020 was 0.4%. Food inflation was 7.7% and non-food inflation was 7.9%. The contribution of housing, including water, electricity, gas, etc., went down from 10.2% to 8.5%. Here is the acting deputy statistician, David Combat.
In January 2020, and this translates into a yearly inflation of 7.8%. This means that in the month of February 2020, the general price level was 7.8% higher than what was recorded for the month of February 2019. The month-on-month inflation between February 2020 and January 2020 was 0.4%. Now, the food and non-alcoholic beverages remain the main drivers of inflation.
For the last 4 months, inflation for locally produced goods has been growing faster than inflation for imported goods.
If you go to the market and you want to buy chicken, the imported ones, a whole box, is a little over 100 Ghana cedis. One local fowl, one local fowl is one. That weighs just about 5 or less kilos. It's almost almost 60 cedis, 50, 60 cedis. So it's not in all cases that you have this, So, but these are averages. Okay, these are averages. So depends on what is prevailing at the time and what items you have in a basket. You are not able to tell that it's always that imported items should have higher prices than locally produced items.
4 regions, the Greater Accra, Volta, Western and Eastern regions, recorded inflation rates above the national average of 7.8%.
Well, if you've monitored the news, the World Health Organization has just declared the coronavirus a pandemic. The organization announced the situation a while ago in a news conference. Now, in Ghana, the use of disinfectants as a means of limiting the spread of the virus is something that is coming up. According to the head of brand development and activation at PZ Cousins, Hafsa Rimantha Arthur, the demand for disinfectants is high in Ghana, but not as compared with the demand in Nigeria. My colleague Alberta Bisu has been interacting with her.
It has seeped in slowly within the Ghanaian market. Some have accepted it and are looking for the product to buy. But gradually we realize that there's an increment in our sales, and actually it's fair to say that we have about doubled what we were selling before the outbreak started. What we recognize is that Ghanaians still think it's far away, a lot of people, and so they're yet to get into the actual habits on a day-to-day basis of using an alcohol-based hand rub or sanitizer as is. But that's growing, and we expect it to grow. What we've recognized in all of this is the habit of using on-the-go hand cleaning products is not yet caught on. It was high during Ebola, but then as soon as Ebola went away, we saw a significant dip in behavior. And we're hoping that through this it will become a way of life more than a response to an epidemic of this nature. And what we're saying is that because the demand in Nigeria has shot up, and we have capacity within a certain framework to work as a factory, as a production hub, they are consuming a lot of it in Nigeria. And so even if we shipped, because of the port-related issues, you realize that it will take a very long time.
Now, let's do the Joy Business Van because it's a Wednesday. Francis Kofiga's donuts are probably some of the most patronized sweet snacks in the city. He's earned the name the Doorman, but it's hard to imagine 3 years ago he struggled to sell just one. Now, today, the Joy Business Van revisits Doorman Foods to learn about how the startup has grown to become a household name.
Welcome back, Joy Business Van. It's good to have you guys here. My name is Francis Kofiga, CEO of Doorman Foods, and I am so happy to show you what has changed since the last time you guys came here. So a lot has changed. I'll tell you about the Doorman story. A friend back then, now my wife, she got me donuts from her office, and then I tasted the donuts. The donuts were lovely, super amazing. And then I said, next time when you're coming back, please buy me the donuts again. She goes, for like 2 or 3 times, every time she came back, she said the donuts were finished. So I said, why is that the donuts get finished? This thing that's nice, like they should keep doing it. And then she said she didn't know why. I kept asking, it went off for a while. So this time around, I went to where they make it myself to go and make inquiries. And then I met the leader that she said, oh, when I do, people don't buy, or it doesn't go as fast as I would like it to. So I just do a little quantity. Then I thought, okay, fine. Then maybe the problem was marketing. So I'll market for you. You sell the donuts to me, and then we'll have a partnership. When we started, it was kind of tough because we didn't even know how to sell it. We're just doing door-to-door marketing, going from shop to shop. If people wanted to buy from us and then resell, it'll make us some profit. Along the line, we thought maybe we should advertise on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. And then we designed a logo, we designed some artworks, put it on Facebook. And then people started calling and say, oh, we saw this ad on Facebook, we saw this ad on Instagram, where are you located? When we started, we didn't even have a recipe. We just had someone who was making donuts in our brains. We started with three people, myself, my wife, and then a friend of ours. We started as 3 people. Now we have over 20 employees. We didn't have a kitchen. We didn't have anywhere we could even make the donuts. Since the last time, we've added on more flavors. Now we have a bigger kitchen. We have bigger storage. We can take on more things, more orders. We even have a chef now, and he comes up with the recipes. Like recently, we introduced the dough burgers. That's the donuts with the burger inside. fine.
I hope you like the sugar content.
Yeah, sugar is fine.
Okay.
The salt too is fine.
Okay.
When we started Dormant Foods, we only had one flavor, just the sugar-coated donuts. And we used to experiment, we used to go online, read different things that the big brands of today that we know were doing with donuts. And then we started adding on, we added the jam flavor, we added the blueberry, the coconut. And there were things that we kept trying, we try, we taste. And if it didn't go well, we just scrap it. If it went well, we give it to other people to sample. And over time, what has made us unique is how we present our donuts.
The burgers, we have a pack of 3 for 40 and then 6 for 76 dollars per residential. Okay, the delivery fee is 10 cedis, please.
When we started at first, we could barely sell even 20 donuts. We'll get maybe 1 or 2 orders in a day, maximum 3, 4, and then move to 5. And then we grew to 10 to 15. It was tough at first because we do all the publicity, we do all the marketing, and we sort of just couldn't sell more than 15 orders. But now, by the grace of God, we are doing at least over 100 orders in a given day. We are doing from about 800-ish to 1,000 plus donuts in a day, and the orders come from far and wide. Who are we? Who are we? I think, and people may say this may be far-fetched, but I think the most difficult part of managing a business is the people in the business. The products, if you use the same recipe, will always stay the same. The systems will always give the same outputs if we put things inside. But human beings, oh my God, they are unpredictable. It's dealing or managing the team that has been, to me, I think, the most successful part of Dormant Foods. We need to strengthen our in-house structures, okay? We need to put things in place to be able to take on more load. Also, we need to improve our capacity building strategies. We also need to build something I would say commissary kitchens, more, or even expand our delivery points or delivery locations so that we can deliver faster and shorter. We want Dormant Food to be a household name wherever any dough food is mentioned. We want to be that household name as all the other brands that you can mention, and that is where we seek to get to.
All right, the CEO of Dormant Foods, Francis Kofiga, reflecting on his 3-year journey. Before we go, work on construction of Kumasi's second shopping mall is nearing completion and is set to open by the end of this year. This is the second after the Kumasi City Mall became operational in 2017. The first phase of the $130 million Garden City Mall project is a joint venture between retail and realty, the Methodist Church, Ghana, and the Kumasi Traditional Council. Asantehene Otumfuo has visited the site to inspect progress of work. Nana Sensumenza has more in this report.
Garden City Mall, located on a 14-acre land at the Swami Roundabout, is estimated to create about 1,200 jobs on completion. It is pegged to become the largest retail center in Ghana and expected to transform the traditional market hub of Kumasi with multiple shops, restaurants, and cinema in one scenic location. Otumfuo led a delegation of Kumasi Traditional Council on a tour at the project site.
ISIS nearby, and for example, it affected him. It comes to me crestfallen. So it's for Mr. Mati. And I must say thank you very much for the assurance that you gave me. That no one lose hope now. Why you wrong? Why am I?
The second phase of the project will involve construction of a 9-story, 200-bed hotel facility. Chief Executive Officer Alex Brooks expressed appreciation to Otumfuo for his continued support as he assures work will be completed on schedule.
Yes, I better for your wisdom, your encouragement, support. Times when I was down, you elevated me, and you contractors, consultants, Ubia concert, Ubia have contributed. Moses Honu, even Dr. Nyani, Shibia Minever, Ata, GCB Bank, the only bank and no went to my ECOWAS Bank. That's one of the banks that we are working with.
Nana Asensi-Mensah, reporting for Joy News.
And that's our program tonight. Thanks for watching. More news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. We've got the day's latest stories there, including the latest inflation rate announced. You can check it out, myjoyonline.com/business. We'll be back same time tomorrow. Thanks for watching.